Let me tell you a story that smells of rain-soaked earth, smoke from firewood, and something deeper, loss and love wrapped in the quiet silence of longing. It began in a quiet village tucked between low hills and dusty red roads in the eastern part of Nigeria. The kind of place where everyone knew your name, where goats bleated like old gossipers and children played ten-ten until their feet were white with dust. It was in this village Umuz that Adebayo lived. Adebayo was 17, with skin like burnt caramel and eyes that always seemed to be searching for something beyond the hills. Her voice was soft, like the rustle of palm leaves when the wind came slowly, and she had this habit of wringing her fingers when she was nervous, something she did often. People in Umuz said Adebayo was too quiet, too withdrawn for a girl her age. Some whispered it was because her mother, Nneka, had run away when Adebayo was only 5. Others said the girl had too many questions and no one to answer them. Her father, Izima, never spoke of his wife. Never. If you mentioned her name, the man's eyes would grow dark like a storm cloud and he'd walk away without a word. So Adebayo stopped asking. But the silence stayed, stretching its limbs across their small compound, growing thicker with each year. Every morning, Adebayo would rise before the cock crowed, sweep the compound, fetch water, and prepare her father's food. Izima was a palm wine tapper, and by the time she returned from the stream, he would have gone, leaving behind muddy footprints and a half-empty gourd. Their conversations were brief, like short rains. "Food is in the pot," she'd say. "Good," he'd nod, not meeting her eyes. That was their rhythm. But even though the house was quiet, Adebayo's heart was not. Sometimes, after chores, she'd climb the old udala tree near the stream and stare out at the horizon. She dreamed of a different life, maybe in Enugu or Nsukka. A place where people didn't lower their voices when they saw her, where she could read books, wear skirts without being called wayward, and maybe, just maybe, ask questions and get real answers. One afternoon, as she sat under the udala tree, a boy walked by. His name was Abiora, a boy from the neighboring village who came to Umuz often to help his uncle sell spare parts. He was tall, with skin like roasted ground nuts and laughter that came easily, like rain falling on zinc roofs. "You always sit here alone," he said, wiping his brow with a handkerchief. Adebayo shrugged. "I like the quiet." He smiled. "Or maybe you're waiting for someone." She rolled her eyes. "Someone like you." That was how it began, teasing words and stolen glances, hands brushing during market days, whispers shared behind the church. Abiora was different. He listened when she spoke. He didn't flinch when she mentioned her mother. He asked her what she wanted from life. No one had ever done that before. "I want to leave this village," she told him one evening. "Find my mother. Or at least, find myself." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll help you." That night, for the first time in years, Adebayo dreamt of a future where the past didn't weigh her down like wet clothes. But reality, as always, had other plans. It started with whispers. Old Mamanwaka saw them by the stream. Then Chibuzo, the nosy tailor's son, told his father he saw Abiora and Adebayo walking too close, smiling too much. By Sunday, the village had exploded with talk. "Doesn't she know her mother was a disgrace? Like mother, like daughter." Izima heard the whispers, of course. He came home early that day, smelling of palm wine and anger. "You're seeing a boy?" he asked, voice sharp. Adebayo's throat dried. "He's just a friend." "A friend doesn't make the whole village talk," he snapped. "You want to shame me like your mother did." Her hands shook. "I'm not mama. But you have her spirit," he said, eyes narrowing. "Wandering. Ungrateful." Something inside her cracked. "You never talk about her. You never even tell me why she left. She was a woman who didn't know her place. And maybe you were a man who didn't make her feel at home," she fired back. The slap came quick, loud, and hot. It stung, but not as much as the silence that followed. Izima turned and walked out, leaving Adebayo trembling. That night, she packed a small bag. One wrapper. A shirt. Her mother's old scarf she found hidden in a box years ago. She didn't cry. There were no tears left. She slipped out through the back, her sandals in hand. Abiora was waiting by the stream, just as they had planned weeks ago. "Are you sure?" he asked. "No," she replied. "But I can't stay." They boarded a night bus to Enugu, sitting in the back, holding hands like scared children. City life was loud, hot, and unforgiving. They rented a tiny room in a Kara layout, barely enough for a mattress. Abiora worked odd jobs cleaning at a restaurant, loading goods at Oakbit Market. Adayabai got work as a house help for a nurse named Auntie Justina who lived in GRA. The woman was kind, but strict. Still, she paid well, and Adayabai got to read the leftover newspapers and magazines. For a while, they survived. Even laughed. Then came the accident. Abiora was hit by a keek while crossing the road. His leg was broken in 2 places. Hospital bills piled up like unwashed clothes. Adayabai sold her few belongings. Auntie Justina gave her some money, but it wasn't enough. One night, sitting beside his hospital bed, Abiora held her hand weakly. "You should go back," he said. "There's nothing left here for you?" She shook her head, tears finally coming. "You are here. But I'm not the future you dreamed of. And you're not the boy I'll leave behind," she whispered. Things got worse before they got better. But they didn't break. A year passed. Then 2. Abiora healed, limped a little, but he walked. He started a small electronics repair shop. Adayabai, with Auntie Justina's help, finished her secondary education. She applied for a diploma program at IMT Enugu. One rainy evening, Abiora came home with a plastic bag. "What's this?" she asked. He smiled shyly. "Fufu and Igasi. And the other thing." He pulled out a ring. "A future." She covered her mouth, eyes wide. "Abiora. I may not have much, Adayabai, but you've given me everything. A reason. A home." She nodded slowly, tears mixing with the smell of Igasi and rain. "Yes." 3 years later, Adayabai stood in front of her childhood home. Abiora beside her. A baby strapped to her back. The compound looked smaller than she remembered. The udala tree still stood. Her father came out slowly, older now, shoulders sunken. He didn't say anything for a long time, just stared at her. Then the baby. "Adayabai," he finally said. "You came back." She nodded. "I did." He looked at Abiora. Then back at her. "I was afraid you'd never forgive me. I was afraid you never loved me." Izima's eyes watered. He reached for the baby's hand, voice breaking. "Will you come in?" Adayabai hesitated. Then she stepped forward. "Yes, Papa. I will. Because sometimes, home isn't a place. It's a decision. A second chance. A